Hello everyone. If you have been following along on my lives, you probably already know about this project. We're doing a project called totallyjunkjunkjournal, where we work with minimal supplies and free supplies. I try to work with minimal tools, things that everyone can have, and you don't have a lot of space to have it. You have it doesn't cost a lot of money. So what I'm going to do today is actually, and I'm sorry guys, I'm behind on doing the projects. We've already done these tags in the live, but I know finding information in a live is sometimes hard. So these are called what I call textured tags. The base, if you can see, I don't know if you can see it, but there is texture in the tag. And since we work with the things that, so we don't have a lot of supplies, we're going to do all of this with junk mail and a few little images from catalogs or magazines or things like that. And we're going to make these tags. So I'm going to set that up there and we're going to get started. This cardboard is pretty lightweight. It's kind of on the order of cardstock. And we're going to use this because what we want to do is we want to make our little embellishments have a little bit of bulk to them. We don't want them to be flat glued down. So we're going to use this, and we're going to do this first so that they have a chance to sit before we are ready to cut them out. And what I'm going to do is take my little images and just kind of rough cut them out. Not that one. For some reason, I'm attracted to white flowers today, I guess. So, and I'm not cutting them out. I'm not fussy cutting them. I'm just roughly cutting them out right now. Oh, we'll go for this red one. And I'm going to do a few just in case I want to. I'd rather have extras and not use them than not enough. And this one. And these are just from a seed catalog that I got in the mail. Got what I wanted out of it. And we're going to use a glue stick. And I am just going to glue these down. And we want to glue them down first before we go on to the next thing so that they have time to set before we try to cut them out. Oh dear. I need to be able to wipe my fingers off, and I didn't get those things out ahead of time. Your fingers do tend to get all covered with glue, and you do want a credit card or something so that you can squish things down. Oh, I was in the middle of one. And we're not worried about how we put these on here. We just want them stuck on there. We're going to cut them out later. And just want to make sure they're very well stuck down. Okay. And you can use any images you want, but they should be sort of small. We don't want to have giant images when our tags are not real big. And now we're just going to set this aside and let them dry. Okay. is we're going to take our pieces of cardboard, and I happen to be using the lids off of my raspberry tea box, but you could use a cereal box. These are a little stiffer than the other cardboard. And I'm going to clip off one corner, and then I turn it over and use that as a guide for the other side. Guys, my husband just came home with groceries. I'm going to go check on that, and I'll be right back. Bye-bye. Okay, sorry for the interruption. Groceries are all put away, so we're all good. But what I'm going to do is I'm making these tag shaped, and I'm not worried about making them all the same size. I guess I could, if I wanted to, make them all exactly the same. I usually just do that. But I guess if I wanted to make them the same, let's turn this upside down so you can see what's happening. I can just cut them like that. Then I happen to know that my hole punch, and this is just a little cheap office supply 1/4 inch hole punch, but mine will not punch through multiple layers of stuff. It barely punches through this. So I go ahead and punch the holes now, and then I'll have to punch it again later. Okay. Now we're going to work on the decorated side because that leaves the back side of our tag to write on. And we're going to use some of this cardboard. And I'm just going to cut up some pieces. And what we're going to do is we're going to make our texture with this cereal box. And I'm just going to cut some pieces randomly here. And it does not have to be anything specific. You can use different shapes if you want. Now what you do want to do is to leave about a little less than 1/4 of an inch between each shape. I'm going to glue these upside down so you can see what I'm doing. And I think maybe I'll zoom in just a little bit. I'm sorry for that glare, guys. Let me see if I can fix that. Not at all. That's interesting. Well, I am sorry. I can't seem to change it. That must just be the way it is. But I'm going to take my glue stick and let's zoom out a little bit. There, maybe that will help you be able to see things. And my little pieces here, I'm going to glue them upside down just so you can see them. But what you want to do is you want to make sure that you really get some glue on your little pieces. Now if you want, you could put your glue all over your cardstock here. Just make sure that it's really good and wet when you're sticking your pieces down. And like I said, you want to make sure that you've got 1/8 of an inch or so, 1/8 to 1/4, a little bit less than 1/4, a little bit more than 1/8. these raised pieces are going to give you your texture. And that's one reason why you want to make sure that you've got them stuck down very well, because they're going to be underneath everything else. Oops, wrong direction. Oh, now, you know, I put those little pieces that I had for the corners into trash can. Not supposed to put things in the trash can, are we? Because they could go just like this. Okay, I need another little piece right in there. Okay. So now what I'm going to do on the next one is I'm going to create more of a pattern. Okay, so there we have that one. And on this one, I'm actually going to create stripes. Now we're going to set this aside to dry. And I'm going to create some stripes. Now to do stripes, we need some sort of straight pieces. Okay. Now, they don't all have to be the same size. They don't all have to be the same length. I just wanted them straight. Okay? Excuse me, guys. Okay, so we're going to try this again. This seems to be a day for interruptions. This one, I'm going to put on little stripes. And what I'm going to do, this one is crooked, so we're just going to get rid of it. I'm going to just put the stripes on all the way down. This is very sticky glue stick. Okay. And I didn't worry about cutting them exactly the same length each time because I really didn't care. Or width, not length, width. I just wanted the little pieces. And I'm also not worrying terribly about whether or not they are exactly the same distance apart. But I am putting them a little more than 1/8, a little less than 1/4 of an inch apart. And now I can just cut these pieces off. And I'm going to do one more. And this one I'm going to put more of a block design. So I'm going to cut some more like squares. But I think I'll use those little rectangles as well. Let's slide that one over a little bit so I can get one more of my little squares in here. And I think I want 2 little stripes. whatever you lay down as far as your cardboard here goes is what you're going to get in the way of texture. That's going to be your design in your textures. And like I said, remember to make sure that your cardboards are well stuck down. I think we need another square up here. And a little piece right there. Okay. Now while that one's drying, we're going to go back in to this one. And we've been using book pages and the insides from the security envelopes, any kind of little, that one's got color on it, anything that has a little bit of color and texture that we want to have in our pieces. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to rough cut out some pieces. And if it goes over the edge, I don't worry about it because I'm going to cut off all the extra later. But what I want to do is I want to push down in here. I'm going to push in between there. And it sometimes helps if you use a card. And I know you can't see the texture right now, but I promise it's there. And I'll show you how to bring it out later. Now, if you had wanted to do this with wet glue like Elmer's glue or matte medium or Mod Podge, you could do that too. I am using a glue stick because everyone just about has the ability to grab up a glue stick. This one's a little harder to find your shapes, so you want to really work at it. Little tiny piece here. Now we have done a lot of collage pieces like this, and one of the things I will tell you is make sure you get all of your little edges pushed down in there and with glue on them. It's this piece. Oh, that's a good piece. This, so far, is mostly security envelope. And there's a little piece of book paper there. And I'm covering up the hole because it's just one of those things that like I said, my punch doesn't like to punch through more than one layer. Well, that'll be good. Okay. And we're just going to lift that up and set it aside. Set it aside for the moment. Set it up on top of something and wipe the glue off of our thing. Okay, on this one, I'm going to use a whole sheet of book paper. This is just a page out of a dictionary. So what I'm going to do is get a rough idea of how much I need. That's perfect. And I am just going to cover this whole piece at one time with the glue stick. At this stage of the game, you want to cover the paper, not this part. The reason being that you can't really get down in the cracks with your glue stick. If we were using wet glue, it would be a little different. Get out of the way. There we go. And I'm just gonna, maybe I'll put it on this way. Okay. And now, like I did before, I'm gonna burnish down the paper into all of those little places. It works best, honestly, with your fingers because you can feel in between all of the little nooks and crannies that you have put the cardboard in. Okay. And again, we're just going to pull that up. So we turn it over and sit it on top of something. Clean up our little table here. Okay. You know what? I think I will do this one in a whole piece of security envelope, which means I need a security envelope. Let's see if we can find one that we like. that one's not. Oh, this is interesting, this one. So's that one. Well, I think I kind of like that. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to use this piece. Now, the one thing you do want to watch out for, this has got this piece glued to it. You want to get rid of that because you don't want that extra thickness when you're trying to burnish your burnish your paper down into the little grooves on your card. So try to get rid of as much as you can. Okay. Okay, that'll work right there just fine. Okay. And again, I'm putting a really good amount of glue onto this paper. Okay. This one's actually very easy to burnish down due to the fact that it's straight lines. You can find them and get them stuck down very nicely. Okay. We're again going to pick this up and set it aside to dry. Let's get rid of some of this mess. Okay. Sorry that I have to keep cleaning the glue off, but that's what happens. It gets on there. Okay. Now, when I got interrupted a minute ago, I went ahead and cut out a couple of these so you wouldn't have to watch me fussy cut them all. But I just chomp them out and now fussy cut them. And I'm not crazy about how tight I cut them. A little edge on some things sometimes makes the little ephemera show up a little better. I have been putting a link to the things you need or a list of the things you need for these projects in the description. So make sure to check the description for everything that you need. And just because I'm using this kind of ephemera does not mean you have to, but this is what I have been doing in my project because it is totally junk. There's no added stuff. Now, you're more than welcome to use stickers and all the things that you have in your stash. When I started this project, it was all about the fact that I keep hearing, oh, well, I can't do this because I don't have that, and I can't do this because I don't have that. So I decided I would do a project, and everyone has really enjoyed it, and it continues. So if you're interested in playing along with us, I put out a new project in my live streams every Sunday at noon Central. All right, so we have some little focal points, and we are going to take our tags and trim off all of the excess paper around them. It is just easier to go over the edge with the paper and then trim it off than it is to try to get a piece of paper right stuck on something right on the edge. Now you could tear this too. You don't have to cut it, and you could leave it all scruffy if you like. Now, if you want to, you could use scrapbook paper. There's no reason you can't. You could use magazine pages and just stick the magazine pages over the tags. Now then, I'm going to use this little cap and a pencil, and I'm going to round my corners. Let me see. By using a cap and sitting it on the corner, we get the same corner on all spots. There again, if you wanted to use a corner rounder, you can go right ahead and use a corner rounder. Now, one of the things you needed for this week was a stamp pad of some sort. I'm going to use my distress inks. I forgot to hunt for my daubers, so we'll have to hope that my little thing is where it belongs. It was. We're just going to want to use one of our ink pads. And I think we'll use this rusty hinge today. And what we're going to do is we are going to take our ink and we are just going to go like so. And when you do that, it brings out the texture. And you see that you can see the texture in there now? And I'm probably going to go along the edges of my tags as well. This one I got a little dark, and that's okay. This one I'm going to go for a little bit lighter color. There again, you can see the textures in it. If you've got a spot not showing up. Okay. And one more. And it's really not about having it perfect. It's about having that texture under there to give you another dimension. Okay. Now right now I want to go ahead and punch the holes in my tags again. I just turn it upside down, and yeah, sometimes that doesn't work. There we go. The tags are still just a little bit damp, so now another thing you were supposed to have this week was some type of liquid glue. And the glue stick doesn't always hold things to this kind of thing, so we are going to possibly use a little bit of liquid glue. And I have some extra little pieces of stuff that I might put on here as some color. Underneath my other piece. So there again, you're adding another layer. It's all about the layers and the depth that you create. I like this better on this one. Okay, so we're gonna now this flat piece does not have any cardboard on the back of it, so it'll work just fine with your glue stick. And we'll trim that little excess piece off in just a few minutes. I lost the cap to my glue stick. There we go. But this piece we want to put on with a little bit of texture, or a little bit of liquid glue. And I also sort of think that it needs a little something else under it. So I'm gonna go for a little piece of color, just like that. We don't want to just stick our images on there and ignore the composition. We want to enjoy what we're looking at. And there again, I kind of push it down. And I'm going to use tacky glue to stick this down. And I'm not going to stick the edges, the very tips of the petals down, because it's kind of sticking itself up and it gives it a three-dimensional look. I'm just going to set it aside though, and we'll trim those pieces off in a little bit. Okay. Now, I don't like that all straight, so we're going to just tear it a little. This is just a little image that I found when I was cutting out the other ones. I like what I had in the first place. You could also put little text and words on these if you wanted to. I really like the way these flowers have kind of rolled up along the other petals. There we go. Okay. I'll set that one right there. I want to use an image again as a background on this one. Now granted, if you had modeling paste and all those other things, you could do this without that, but this is a totally junk journal. And I'd love it if you thought you wanted to come and play with us. We're really having a good time with this. There we go, yep. With this project. And I think we've got about 35 people playing along right now, which is always fun. Now, normally I would leave things sit and let them get dry, but I want to finish up so you can see the last little couple of things that we're going to do. I'm going to trim. I've got a little extra guy. I'm going to trim these off. And now we need some ties for our tags. And what we're going to use to make our fancy junk journal thread or yarn is a plain old grocery bag. And what we're going to do is we're going to take it and we're going to flatten it out. Now, I had a couple of, I had a black one and I had some other colors, but I'm down to where I could only find a white one. I'm going to cut the bottom off because it's hard to work with, and then I just, about 3/4 of an inch, I just cut these off like so. And I don't really want this red, so I don't mind that it's there on part of it, but I just don't want a lot of writing. And now I have a whole bunch of pieces of plastic yarn. And I just take and do like that. And what I think I want to do is do 2 for each. And there's plenty that we can cut it off. We don't have to worry about it. It's going to be just fine. That needs a trim right there though. Needed a little haircut. I'm going to fold it in half. And I'm going to take this little loop right here and stick it through the hole. And when it comes out the other side, it has loop, and I'm just going to pull these through it. And then we pull it down until it's snug. And we give it a haircut, and we have cute little ties on our tag. That one's got a cute little splotch of red. And we get 2 more. Fold them in half. Now if you have trouble getting them through there, twist it a little bit right in the middle. And it should go through a little easier. There we go. And one more, and we'll have all 3 of them done. And these pieces are a little thin. I think I'm going to use a 3rd piece, just for the fun of it. Okay. And there's our junk journal tags, totally junk tags. Let me put them down here. With our cute little ties. I sure hope you enjoyed this video. Let's get a quote from our 1001 Ways to Creativity. Sometimes you have to break many boring rocks before you strike creative gold. And that's another creative thought for another day. I hope everybody has a great evening, and go make some art. Bye-bye.